Have you ever managed to sacrifice all your pieces in one game, and now imagine that after that you can also win? In this video you will see it. White offered all the pieces as sacrifices. So, White starts the game with c4, g6 is answered by Black and e4, bishop g7, d4. White completely captures the center with his pawns and Black responds with d6, the knight goes to c3, the knight f6. Knight g is to e2, Black pulls up his knight, takes a little time with castling. White's knight goes to g3 and after the move c6 White completes the development of his kingside. Bishop e2, preparing to castle, a6, Black has not castled yet. White notices the fact that the Black king has not yet been castled. In the future he can go long. They also do not show their plans. Develop their bishop on the e3 square and after the move h5 Black shows their plans. And the plans, apparently, are Napoleonic. As we see, Black is already acting on both the king and queen sides. That is, Black decides to play all over the board, but this does not always lead to success. So, White moves f3, strengthening his central pawn on e4, and Black responds with a blow to the face flank with b5. White does not exchange on the b5 square, but goes to c5, fixing the Black pawn on the c6 square. Black captures on c5 and after capturing on c5, the Black queen moves onto the square c7, castling and h4. The pawn goes to Taran to the position of the White king, but it's okay. The horse has the only floor for retreat, the h1 field, the horse retreats, the horse goes to h5, the horse's jump is prepared on f4, the queen goes to d2. Preventing this threat and after the e5 stroke, the white horse returns to the game on the f2 field. In this position, the Black afterthoughts did not dare to shortly rocking, which could be a good solution here, but they go to the horse on f8. Perhaps trying to put their horse, either on e6, or on d7 and go in alongside, and White, leading ahead Black in development, begin to aggravate the game, a4. White begins to cling to the Pharaoh's flank of Black and after the course of b4, the Blacks do not want to change, try to close the game. Come of horse d5 follows, the first sacrifice of the figure in this party. Whites offer Black as a pawn on the d5 horse. Blacks without anything better take the horse on d5. After all, if you do not take it, then the horse climbs on the b6 and there will already be a complete positional jaan. The Black king, most likely, would remain in the center until the end of the game. So, taking d5 and Whites take a pawn on d5. And now it becomes clear why White gave up his knight, for the most magnificent two passed pawns in the center, which have already passed the line of demarcation and are heading towards the White king, which is still in the center. The knight on f8 now prevents his king from escaping from the center. So, Black plays f5, in this way they are now trying to somehow, somewhere, seize the initiative. For example, the move f4 threatens to capture White's dark squared bishop. But in this game White is going after the Black king. The material here does not interest him. So d6. The black queen is driven away. And after the move queen c6, white continues to feed black. Another piece sacrifice follows, bishop b5. And black is also obliged to take this bishop, just like the knight on d5. After all, now this is a pin between the queen and the king. We have to take it, and after taking it with a pawn, there is another tactic. You can't take the haste, because black's rook hangs on a8. However, in the game the opponent was apparently too sick of white's pawn fist in the center and decided to sacrifice this rook after all. He takes the queen on b5 and after capturing the rook on a8, plays the queen c6, returning. It's worth saying that here, of course, the best move was queen b7, defending the rook, and there's nothing wrong with black here. Well, right away it's exactly like that. For example, finding c6 would follow the size of the rooks. Even if white captured here, black would have time to capture on f1. After capturing, the bishop captures on d7. Yes, the position, naturally, was lost for black, but here still some accuracy was still required. However, in the game, black decided to sacrifice his rook on a8 and after capturing on b5, the rook hits a8, the queen on c6, attacking the rook. The rook needs to be taken away, but that was not the case. The second rook goes on the attack, and white brings another piece to attack on the black king. But allow the move f4 and black no longer having anything better, they simply begin to devour everything they see. With the move f4 they catch the bishop, followed by rook a7, and here black thought a little and still did not immediately take the piece, but played the knight d7. Because there was already a threat of the rook entering on the 7th rank and then doubling along the 7th rank. But the whites continue to stick to their line and fill their stomachs with blacks. They give up another piece, the rook on c8. After a check on c8, we have to take. The move queen d5 follows. White once again leaves another piece under attack, but their goal is the black king. Black greedily devours white's bishop on e3 and after check with the queen on f6, the king retreats to f8, because if he retreated to d8, checkmate would follow in one move. Queen e7. So, the king is f8, and now just imagine who white would be if they now took away their knight, which was under the attack of a black pawn. Naturally they don't do this. They take the knight on d7 and after taking a check on f2, the black king calmly retreats to f1 and doesn't even take this pawn. It is worth saying that the king f1 is an extremely accurate move, because a simple capture with the king on f2 would seem to destroy one attacking black unit. Black could go on a counterattack. And here white has big problems. They will most likely just lose this game. On king e2, there follows a fork on the king and on the queen with a knight, on the retreat of the king either on e1 or on f1. The black queen is activated, eats the b2 pawn, and in the future it is black who will mate the white king. Therefore, after king f1, simple retreat. We are not afraid of any checks here, because in this case we will simply eat this pawn, and there will be no more checks. and white threatens to mate the black king in one move. Black makes a single move in order not to get mate on the f7 square. They offer an exchange of queens. But what is the other size of queens? White still has at least 2 pieces left that need to be sacrificed. So, the rook sacrifice on f7, white continues to fill black with material. Black takes, he has to take, queen c8 is check, queen e8, again we offer an exchange. White agrees to this exchange, but on his own terms, d7, defending his queen and attacking to the black queen. Naturally, no one will take from c8. In this case, white will advance another queen. Black is forced to retreat with the king to f7 in order to bring the rook into play. After the capture, we reach the next position, where black has 3 pieces for the queen. It seems like full compensation, but that's not the case. Black has a very strong passed pawn on c5. There follows a check on b7, a rook on e7, an overlap from the check, and white fulfills his dream. He sacrifices the last piece, except for the king, which remains on the board. By moving to c6 they offer their queen as a sacrifice. Black did not accept this sacrifice. After all, in this case, after capturing the capture, white inevitably places another queen on square b8. There is no way to defend against this threat. Therefore, the move e4 follows. Black tries to break through his trump card, which still remains on f2, and after the move e2 check, for example, a capture on f2 would be followed by checkmate, e1 queen. The whites noticed this threat, but this does not frighten him at all. The move from 7 follows. The white pawn is one step away from becoming a queen. Black is pushing his pawn to queen. And now the white king is one move away from checkmate. White's only move, queen d5 check, retains his initiative. Black's king retreats to f6, and after the move queen d6 is check, king f7, queen d5, king f6. White took a little time here because he passed the game control. And after the move queen d6 is check, the king retreats to f7. White sacrifices another queen on e7, destroying black's attacking rook, which supported the e3 pawn in its attack on the white king. White's queen rises from the ashes on square c8, and black has no choice but to cling to his passed pawn, bishop h6. What do we get for the remainder? White did sacrifice his entire set of pieces. The queen on c8 is our new queen, transformed from a pawn. True, the game is not finished yet. White gives check on c5, the king retreats to e8, check to b5, king to d8, and after check to b6, king to d7, we take the pawn to g6. Double strike on bishop and knight. There is no way to protect 2 pieces. Black decides that his stick is a shotgun, and once a year he must shoot. The pawn e2 checks, and white needs to be extremely careful. There are 2 captures: a pawn on f2 or a pawn on e2. Try to find a winning continuation for white here. I pause for 10 seconds, smiley face. White takes the pawn on f2, and the whole point is that to capture the pawn e2 would be followed by the most insidious fork of black, with a knight on the queen and on the king, and to capture f2 we take the knight takes on g6, and black has a 1 position. White didn't blunder this, so he took the pawn to f2, but black still continues to throw his sticks. Check with bishop e3 follows. Now black is starting to sacrifice pieces, but white doesn't like the black pieces at all. They retreat to e1 and black simply gives up in this position. Of course, this bishop could not be taken. In this case, black would place another queen on e1. Well, for example, to capture with the king on e2 the same fork on the king and on the white queen. In the final position after the move, the king is on e1, why did black still resign? After all, they seem to have a knight move on f4. Black has no compensation for white's queen. 2 pieces are not enough, especially since the pawn on e2 will soon fall. Also, white here will calmly, with the help of checks, one day eat off the pawn on b4 and drive his passed pawn to the queen. This is such a gorgeous evergreen party. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you later.